Hello everyone, I'm your host Shalisa Silvatoni along with my co-host Grace Typin.
Welcome to the newest episode of Launch Point. We are here to help you stay in check with Point Pleasant Junior Senior High School. Our shows are available through Facebook, YouTube, and the NFHS network by going to www.pointpleasantlive.com.
We are also on all forms of social media, so be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Stay tuned for Change My Mind segment with Gabe Hall.
Point Pleasant, this is your launch point. Now for some school news and announcements.
Jostens will be here December 11th to pass our varsity jackets out in class rings.
Student Council is holding a Christmas week, which Monday will be the night before Christmas, wear your favorite Christmas pajamas. Tuesday will be wear your Christmas socks and hats. Wednesday is wear your ugly Christmas sweaters. And Thursday is wear your favorite Christmas character costume. And Friday is all out Christmas, so wear anything and everything that you have for Christmas.
Seniors, don't forget that there are many scholarship applications in the office for you to fill out.
The Junior National Honor Society would like to thank everyone who participated in the November canned food drive. They are still accepting donations of scarves, gloves, toboggans, and blankets through the month of December. Please be sure to contribute. Now it's time for another Change My Mind with Gabe Hall.
Hi, I'm Gabe Hall here with
Gregory Boster.
All right, Gregory. Prove me wrong. Band, cheerleading, and or golf, they're not sports.
All right. You believe them not to be sports? All right. What's your proof that they're not sports?
Okay, you see, I'm going by the definition here. Provided by Coach Tinch. This isn't Oxford here, but I believe he has some points here that make a lot of sense to me. They're not sports, they're just competitions. Which there's nothing wrong with that, not being a sport. Doesn't mean much to me. But I believe that to be a sport, you have to be able to defend and stop the other team from scoring. Prevent them from getting points and winning. You can't do that in these. You can't run in front of a golf swing. That's not a part of the rules. Plus, it hurts really bad. Cheerleading, you're not just going to run out there on the mat and fight another cheerleader to stop them from winning whatever it is.
That would be very interesting.
It would go from cheerleading to UFC.
All right. What about band?
Band. You know, it's just like I said before, you can't really defend it. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to go mess with their instruments? I mean, that's just tinkering. That's just tampering.
You're right.
So I don't believe that can be considered a sport.
All right. Gabe, you think competitions are not count as, they do not count as sports, right?
Yeah.
All right. What do most competitions have? Brackets, right?
A bracket doesn't make it a sport.
I know, but
I mean, what else has brackets? I mean, you could play video games.
football playoffs have brackets.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that
just because they have
not make it a
brackets?
sport?
Just because you have brackets doesn't mean it's a sport. It just means somebody outdid somebody in their craft. Like cheerleading brackets. You can't stop the other team. You just have to outperform them.
You're right.
So a bracket has no chance of being brought into this conversation because they don't matter.
But they do compete against each other.
Yeah, but competition.
They do have to score points.
To compete,
such as
it's a competition.
Football, baseball, hockey, and
You're losing ground here, buddy.
I am.
I'm going to tell you this. Points don't make it a sport either.
Points don't make it a sport either.
Football, what can you do? You can stop the other team from making those points.
You're right.
Isn't that not right? Cheerleading or band, can you stop them from scoring points?
No.
They have to do it of their own accord.
So you're saying it has to have defense to make it
You
a
have
sport.
to have defense to make it a sport. It's an offensive and defensive game. That's why it's a
So
sport.
video games are a sport?
If it has defense in it.
I'm about to say, are you...
Mario Tennis, that's an e-sport. An e-sport's a different category. an electronic sport. If you can defend it, it's a sport.
Do you like Wii, Gabe?
Yes, I grew up on that.
Did you know they have golf on the Wii and it says Wii Sports?
Yes, but that's a Nintendo thing. That's Japan, so it doesn't matter.
That's Japan?
That's Japan. And also, in the game, they have bowling. Is bowling a sport?
Yes, I believe
No.
bowling is a sport.
You're wrong.
All right.
Bowling's a competition.
Bowling's a competition.
What do they call cheerleading things? Cheerleading competitions?
Yeah.
What do they call football games? Football games. See, there's a game and a competition. There's a difference. Do you understand?
All right.
Do you
So-
understand? I think
you're
you
saying
understand what I'm saying
So
here.
you're saying what Google, faithful Google, has lied to us for many years. I mean, if they're just competitions, then the people in the competitions are not athletes.
They can still be athletes.
They can be athletes, but
You
it's
don't-
not a sport.
It's like track's not a sport. It's a competition because you're not stopping the other person. And does that stop you from being an athlete? An athlete is somebody who's physically fit and works at their craft. Doesn't mean it has to be a sport.
So you're saying crafts like as in art,
Not the mac
or
and cheese.
pottery, cooking, art, music.
Football,
Those
baseball,
those are
sports.
crafts too.
Yes, everything can be a craft. It's what you work at. Like your
Right.
job can be a craft. Doesn't make it a sport. It makes it a job.
So you're saying Tiger Woods is, irrelevant to this conversation.
I think you're bringing up irrelevant points because you have nothing to say. Tiger Woods is an athlete. That is for sure. He's also balding, but I love the guy. Great guy.
You're right.
Had a rough few years, but
But he does play a sport, right?
no, that's golf.
The golf is a sport.
It's a competition.
Ah, is that how you see it?
It's like I said. You can't stop another golfer from taking a swing. You can't yell. You can't do that. It's all frowned upon.
So, the Webster Dictionary definition of a sport is anyone competing in competitions, trying to score points against one another.
Yeah.
It has nothing for defense. It
Yeah,
doesn't say a sport has to have a defense to actually be counted as
No,
a
I see what
sport
you're
game.
saying here. I see what you're saying here. But that's such a baseless,
A baseless.
disgusting claim that you're going to think I'm going to go by Webster Dictionary. A disgusting website.
And
When
you're
I have-
going
when I
by-
have the Coach Tinch Dictionary,
The Coach
who gave me
Tinch
a
Dictionary.
definition.
All right, you bring me a book that shows all definitions by Coach Tinch, that it's patented and has legal definitions. I will use it as evidence.
Do they have to be legal? Have you ever heard of Urban Dictionary? Have you ever gone by any of those definitions before?
I mean,
yes?
sure, why
yes.
not?
Does that make it a real dictionary?
No, sure it does.
It doesn't. But you still use
I-
the words, so it can be a definition of your own.
They print books of Urban Dictionary. They have websites of Urban Dictionary. Everybody almost goes to Urban Dictionary, but I do not see a Coach Tinch website of, what a sport is,
Okay, two things. No need to yell. Number two, I will personally talk him into making a website or book of his favorite definitions of words to prove you wrong.
All right, Gabe, I will give you a week's time for Coach Tinch to come up with a website and or book. And
Wait for it. We're going to have the Coach Tinch patented website. Just
Alright.
wait for it. I'm just going to tell you right now, my mind has not been changed.
all right,
It has not been changed.
All right, I'll make you a deal. We'll count it as being changed since you have no legal evidence.
Does it have
for
to be
what
legal? Does it have to be legal?
I mean,
It
there's.
reminds me of the Spider-Man conversation we had.
Oh yeah.
That's my choice. It's also my opinion, and it's my mind. And if it's not changed, then it's baseless.
You're right. But Luke
I'm
Blaine,
right. I'm right.
before
I would love to shake your hand. I'm right.
All right.
I'm right.
No, Luke Blaine, before the conversation we had, said your favorite Spider-Man movie was the second, a sequel to the original.
Which was also a previous conversation. Yes, my mind was changed that day, but not today.
All right. You have no evidence to support your claim.
You're going to come onto my show
your
and start
show.
throwing evidence claims?
Your show.
Unbelievable.
What about Mr. Luke Blaine?
Whenever he's on, it's his show. Have you ever seen Mr. Rogers? You know what? That's for another day.
All right.
My mind has not been changed.
And
Thank
my
you for
mind
coming
has
up.
not been changed either. I give Coach Tinch a week to have a website or a book, and at least 100 people reading or going
wait,
to the
that-
website.
Does not have to count as a thing because this is a definition.
All right.
It's
Tell
for
you
the
what.
website, like you said.
If Coach
And here
Tinch
comes
gets the
Kendra.
website, here comes Kendra.
We can't take any much longer. I would
You're
like to
right.
thank you for coming on.
All right. If Coach Tinch has a website in a week,
Look, yes.
I will change my mind.
All right.
All right.
Shake on that. All right, stop the camera. Stop the camera, please. Hi, I'm Gabe Hall here with Winner. And today we're arguing about sports and competitions. Now, I consider golf, swim, cheerleading, band, all those things, they're not sports, they're competitions. Are you with or against me on this?
Against.
You're against me, all right. So, what's your argument?
Well, you see, the way I see it is that if it has something to do with physical activity, then it's a sport. Because, like, you got to think about it. People put work and time into getting better at football and wrestling and basketball and all that. Like, it takes...
Which are all sports.
Yeah, but cheerleading, band, and golf also take time and effort. And
Well, so does
all of
school. Does that make school a sport?
it. No, but...
But
like,
see, where you're coming from here is that if it takes time, it's a sport. I've been alive for 17 years and I'm not that fit, so this can't be a sport. Because if this was a sport, I'd have a six-pack. And life is not that kind. So if we're going by the basis of time here, I mean, cooking, is that a sport?
No. But you gotta
All
think
these
about
things
it.
are
Like,
not
it has
sports.
physical, like
Just 'cause
golf,
it's physical.
cheerleading, and band all have physical activity. And if it wasn't a sport, then it wouldn't have
Okay,
to.
let's use an example here. Heavy labor work, right? Say you're working a construction job. You're lifting heavy things every day, getting better and stronger and faster because you're lifting and working. Does that make it a sport?
No.
Wow. My mind hasn't been changed. How do you feel about this? Has your mind been changed? Maybe a competition is something with no defense. A sport has defense. As
Right.
Coach Tinch would say, which I'm going off his definition as of today, I believe that he's got a pretty good base on it. And it makes a lot of
Right.
sense when you think about it.
But you gotta think, maybe in the cheerleaders' minds, like our cheerleading team is basically their offense, and then the others is the defense.
But you can't stop them physically or any way.
Right.
You can't stop them. And that's what keeps it from being a sport. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these. I think they're all fine. I just believe that they're not considered sports in that category. Like, it's more of a competition. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So has your mind been changed today? Maybe a little?
Yeah,
Just
a
a little
little.
bit? Thank you for coming on. It was great arguing with you. I'll let you introduce yourself today because this is a very special guest.
All right, hello, my name is Kendra Williams, and I'm here to change Gabe Hall's mind.
It won't happen.
Alrighty, so your argument is that band is not a sport, and I will agree with you to a point.
Okay.
Concert band is not a sport. Marching band, on the other hand, is.
How so?
Well, a sport, I will bring in definitions like you said I would,
Yes.
is defined as anything that you provide physical
Physical
exertion, and skill in which an individual or team competes against others or another for entertainment.
Okay, for entertainment. Archery.
Archery
you
would be
ever watched
considered
archery?
a sport.
It'd
Yes,
be a competition.
it can be a sport.
Have you
Olympic
ever
sport.
heard a kid say, I'm going to go to archery practice and prepare for my sport?
Yes,
Who?
the archery team.
We have an archery team?
We have an archery team,
Too bad it's not recognized as a sport.
except it is, thank you, it's an Olympic sport.
Yeah, but you can call anything Olympic sports, but is there defense to it? Can you run in front of an arrow and catch it? Can you?
Can you, Gabe Hall?
Maybe it'll bounce off my tummy, but I don't see it me catching it, unless there's a piece of food tied to it. Are you going to call me fat? Are you calling me fat on live television?
I'm not calling you fat. You're
I can't
calling
believe
yourself
this.
fat, and I'm
you're going to come
agreeing.
out here and agree with it?
Yes.
That's rude.
No, it's
Unbelievable. Let's keep going.
not. All right. So the other thing about marching band, and what I have to say is that the band itself gets more playing time on the field than 2/3 of the football team. Thank you, Gabe Hall.
Okay, but just because everybody's in it doesn't make it a sport, does it?
Yes, it does.
How does that possibly work?
Because we still compete for competition and win multiple competitions and provide
Did
physical
you hear
exertion.
what you just said? Was that competitions?
Yes, which is the point of a sport,
No.
to compete. Indeed, for
Do
entertainment
you call
and
football
competition.
games football competitions?
You could. Playoff competition.
It wouldn't sound right. It'd be a playoff game.
That's just because of wording and personal American preference.
Also, the definitions for a sport is wordings and personal opinion.
No,
I'm
it's
sorry,
not.
but I'm going to shoot you with these facts real quick.
All right, go ahead, try.
As we've been going, and I want to thank you for the 400-point Spanish test while we're here.
You're welcome.
I got a 350 or something. It was pretty nice. But, me llamo Gabriel, and I'm going to change your mind.
Me llamo Carmen, ¿cómo está? Tu es muy feo.
Whoa. I'm going to have to stop you there. Okay. I consider a sport something with a defense and an offense. You can stop the other team from scoring. What makes it a sport? Like hunting? I mean, it's not really a sport. You can call it sport, but I don't consider the definition a sport. It's more of a competition. I mean, it's less of a competition. It's not even a sport or a competition, really. It's just what you do in your free time. And you're going to say band is a sport because you take time, physical effort, and you compete. Now, if we're going off my definition that I believe is correct, that's in my mind, just as the show shows, it's not it is a competition because you can't stop the other band from competing. You can't stop them from performing and doing good. It's almost as if, like in football games, you can pull up a defense, block a pass, intercept it or so. But Trayvon has something to say.
There's a hole in your argument. What about like track?
It's not a sport. Track is a competition. Whoa! Trayvon's hurt because he throws a metal ball very far and goes to a state meet. It's a competition. Does it make it sport? No. You can't stop the other runners. You can't stop the other throwers.
You can by being better than them. Stopping them is the same as losing.
No, I'm sorry. That's not how that works.
Indeed it is.
Just because you're better than somebody doesn't make it a sport. It's like cheerleading. We're going to bring that around to cheerleading here real quick.
Okay.
You have the competitions, all right, and she's right. He's right. Just saying no isn't enough. But cheerleading here, you can go to the competitions, you go around, you do your thing, and you get, say, I don't know how the scoring works in cheerleading, so I'm just going to say, out of 100, they get an 88. Okay, they did their best. They got an 88. That's pretty good. The other team gets an 89. First place, you lose, you go home. Was that a sport?
Yes.
No. It was a
By the
competition.
technical definition of sport,
Technical
yes,
definitions
it is.
don't matter.
Yes, it does, because that's what your sign says.
My sign says
It does not say your opinion on a sport. It says a sport.
now. Yes, my mind. Is this what we're talking about? Is this not the show's name? Kendra, how does it feel to not absolutely bulldoze me in an argument this time? Because I don't consider this a sport.
And that's perfectly fine. I'm just telling you you're wrong.
Wow. Very thoughtful words from one of my close friends. Thank you. And also, calling people out to be wrong does not make your argument stronger. It only shows that you're a weaker mind. I'd like to thank you for coming on and talking.
Thank you, Gay Paul. I'd like to remind you that I'm still your Spanish TA and am partially responsible
Help.
for your grade.
Help. Mrs. Towner, I'm looking at you. Please help. Hi, I'm Gabriel Hall here with Dylan Tyanko. We got one argument brewing here. Let's see what he has to say.
I want to know why you think golf is not a sport first.
Okay, look. I'm going to keep it real with you, Chief. When I talked to Coach Cottrell, he put golf on there so I didn't get attacked too bad for just calling out two different competitions. Competitive teams. But I also believe that he has some credit there. Because just because it's not a sport doesn't mean it's bad. You know what I'm saying? I'm not calling these competitions out. I'm just saying...
You're saying it's not a sport
I'm just saying it's not a sport
there are
because
no
there's no
competitive
defense.
teams.
No. I'm saying because there's no defense.
Because there's no defense.
I'm not saying because there's no teams. Because there's teams for everything.
When you're playing tennis, is there a defense?
Yes.
What is that?
You're playing one-on-one versus another person. See,
Yeah.
the game of golf and the game of, say, competition of cheerleading, you can't impede the other person's progress. Is that
Sure you can.
how?
You can mentally mess with people. I do it all the time.
But that's different. You see, a defense is something you can physically
no
stop.
difference than messing people up mentally in any other sport.
Competition. In a sport, if you're physically going to stop somebody, you can't mentally stop somebody from making a touchdown in football, can you?
Why not?
They're just going to run in.
You can mess with their mind and you can just make the trip or something. I don't know. Okay.
I'm sorry, we don't have mystical powers.
Golf
Golf, yes.
is recognized as a sport. Wait, what's the college sports league called?
College, NCAA.
NCAA. Yeah.
Well,
Golf
nobody's-
is recognized as a sport by the NCAA.
I can't speak my mind on that part, but
Oh, sure you can.
Oh, no, I can't. But,
Why not?
because it But, as I was saying, golf can't be a sport because it's a good competition. I believe it is. Good competition. I like Tiger Woods. It's my
the
dog.
Olympics.
So swimming. Doesn't make it a
That's a sport.
You can't stop a swimmer from swimming unless you're a shark.
Tiger Woods won an award for the most improved athlete.
Just because you play a sport or a competition doesn't not make you an athlete. Because, I mean, you can be an athlete in anything. I mean, athlete is just a fit body and you're good at your craft. I mean, you don't have to be fit because I'm not very fit, but I consider myself an athlete because of football. Trayvon's not fit either. But he's definitely an athlete.
So if you're an athlete, so when I call someone an athlete, what's the first thing you assume about them?
I assume that they are good at whatever they do.
And they play a
Competition or
sport.
No.
And they play
They
a
don't,
sport.
it doesn't have to be.
If you ask anyone what they think about an athlete,
That's
they're going
because
to
it's so
assume they
drilled
play a
into
sport.
people's minds. That a sport,
And you do understand
It's
the amount
equal
of
to
training that professional golf players have to do.
yes, because they're good at their competition. It's the same with cheerleaders. And as Brady says, competitive skiers. Is skiing a sport?
Yes.
Wrong. I mean, actually, now that I think about it, skiing might be a sport because you can get in front of the people. You can actually physically impede them, which could be a defense.
So cross country skiing is a sport, but alpine skiing is not a sport.
What's cross country skiing?
It's cross country, but with skiing.
How do you go across the country on skis? What if there's no snow?
I think.
I'm just playing, folks.
Oh gosh.
So, what other points in your argument get to bring up?
It's hard.
It's hard. Just because it's hard doesn't mean anything. We're here at school. That's hard.
Only for some people.
Wow, Dylan. I'll remember that. Just because you get amazing grades, and I'm here.
School's hard. School's hard. Yes, it is. I know. But I mean, I still got you.
School is very hard. Depending on the class. I hate math. Too hard for me.
You know, mathematics are also in golf.
It's not a sport. Have you ever heard of Math Field Day?
I have heard of National Day.
Have you been there?
I have been there.
I never have. But, do you do any...
So golf is not a sport now.
Yeah, golf is not a sport
Because
because
of
Math Field Day. Math Field Day
Math
is
Field Day
fake.
exists.
There's no base. I've never seen it, so I don't believe it exists. That's my argument for that. I believe these competitions are not sports. We have some supporters in the crowd that golf is not a sport. I love the crowd here. Always arguing with me. I don't know why.
I don't know.
It's almost like there's a big old sign right there.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? Your mind might have been changed a little bit? Or are you hard stuck?
It's literally not changed at all.
That's understandable. A lot of people have a hard time coping with the truth. I'd like to thank you for coming out. My mind has yet to be changed.
You know, you're in denial.
Oh, so we're going through the stages of grief now.
You just talked about coping with the truth.
I can't cope with my depression and anger. It's too deep. Thank you for bringing this up. Hi, I'm Gabe Hall here with
Emily Martin.
Emily Martin. Nice to meet you. So we're here to argue about sports and competitions. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, what's your first argument?
That cheer is a sport.
And why is that?
Well, because you have to work for it. You have athletes. Athletes do. We throw people in the air, which technically football players throw footballs, but it's like, what, a pound? We throw like 100-pound flyers.
Oh. So just because you throw things makes you a sport? So if a delivery guy were to throw a package, is he an athlete? I don't
No.
believe so. I'm sorry, but that's so baseless that it actually hurt me right here. Because sports need defense. Why would you have a sport without a defense? Can you stop anybody from cheering and cheerleading?
No.
Wow. Where's the defense? Is there one?
No.
So there's no defense. I mean, you could say there's an offense, but it's really just a competition. It's a team sport. So when you go out there, you compete. you get a 75 or whatever. How do they score in cheerleading? I want to know this actually.
Okay, if you drop, you lose like 2.5 points, but that's a lot.
So it's not a huge grading scale like I thought.
Yes, basically.
Okay. So, are you able to make the other team drop somebody
Yes, you can.
physically?
No, not physically,
Then
but mentally.
Can you mentally tackle somebody in a game of football or
No.
mentally stop somebody from dunking in basketball?
No.
So what you're telling me here is there's no defense, really no offense. Is it a sport?
Yeah, it is. Even though you don't have defense or an offense.
I don't think that sounds very sport-like to me. And mainly because if you can't stop them,
Okay.
how are you going to play the game? Like golf. It's
You have to be
competition.
better. If you're
Just 'cause
better,
you're-
you're better.
Yeah. So, just because you're better than somebody doesn't make you a sports athlete, a sports player. I mean, an athlete doesn't have to play a sport. Is that right? You could be athletic and not play sports.
Yes, I assume
Yes.
so.
So the word athlete isn't associated with just sports. It can be competitions. It can just be living normal life. So say you're running. Say track. And you're running, and the kid in front of you, in the lane beside you is beating you.
Push harder.
Can you push them?
No.
Then how are you going to stop them?
Run
You
faster.
don't. You can't stop them. Because it's an untouchable force, because you can't stop them. It's no sport. No sport. Is that right? Is that
assume.
right? Assume. So all I'm hearing is your mind is being changed. Oh no, Gregory's back. Please don't take my ice cream. And it's gone. So you're telling me sports don't need defense?
They do if
But
it's
they
a
do.
contact sport.
Well, that's the whole thing. Sports need contact. Basketball, you can contact. You can set a pick or a screen or whatever they're called. All at what? Quit taking my ice cream. Okay. Has your mind been changed today?
No.
That's just too bad. I'd like to thank you for coming on because I feel like we've been running for a long time today. Thanks for watching.
Thanks to Gabe for your segment, and thank you for watching the latest episode of Launch Point. Be sure to check out our programming on Facebook, YouTube, and on the NFHS network. Your next Launch Point will be tomorrow.